I tested the mutation and I realized that it had 2 errors. So the first one is over here. It has to be mutation. I think I had a spelling mistake over here, so it has to be mutation. And again over here, yeah, in create to do, you see I never passed the user who was creating, and you know that it's required field. So here you have to say user is equals to info, I think info.context.user. so if you do that, then we are ready to go. So how do we write mutations? That is it. So just come over here, refresh this page, and so previously, if you've been checking us making the mutations, then you've been seeing me doing just like to-dos, then get to-dos like by ID or by user, and just run the query and it would get. But that is not basically the only thing. I was assuming one thing, because by default graphene expects a query, which if you don't specify that what you are doing is a query, then by default that is what will be done. But whenever you will be doing mutation, then you have to tell it that you're really doing mutation. So you have to tell it mutation, then just do it over there, then just type the function you want to do. If you go to the docs, as of now, you see mutation has been added for us, and the mutations are add and create and update to do. So as of now, let's test both of them. Let's start with this one. So we could just copy them over like these over here. I'm lazy, so just this way, and then we know that this expects a string, so which we could just say that the string is something like date time. So you know default date time for Django, so which is 12, then which is 2021, then the date, which is, let's say, tomorrow. Date after tomorrow is 5, then again month and then date and then month, and then the time, which is basically t, then let's say 12, and then 00, and then 00 second. So place is type string, as you see, as given over here, and place, let's just say, is town, and then it expects you again to have title, which, let's say, it's just buy some things, and then it expects you to return we expect it to return something, which we could say to do it. It's expected to return to do. Then by default, let's just return ID, but here you could pass all the values that we've been passing whenever we were getting to do's in queries. So just run, and you see we get null. This is an error that started occurring, I think, 3 days ago. I think there is one of the modules that is causing this error, and I'm not quite sure which module is that, but please, if you know how to resolve that, then please let me. But as of now, I'm 100% sure that this has been created. We could just I know there's a module, there's one that's saying already town, so we could say just my market, because I'm sure that this does not exist, and just create. Now let's go and get to-dos. To-dos, and then just get ID. So you see we get ID. Let me get place, because we want to see place. So you see my market, which is what we just added, and town, which is again what we added. So let me reverse over here. So you see, okay, to do and then ID. So whenever we were creating this, then this created a new one. But what if you want to update? Then we use this update to do. but we know it expects us to pass these same values, except as of now it expects you to also have an additional one, which is the ID, and the ID you are trying to edit, which is in our case 5 my market, and we are trying to change from my market to my own market, which is really, I don't know if I own a market, but that would be cool. So okay, now my own market, then just run and it returns null. But what if we do to-dos? Just let's say to-dos, and then just say ID and then place, and then we expect ID number 5 to be my own market, which is exactly what it is. So that is it, guys, about this. So please consider checking out the GitHub repository if you have some reference or some things you want to do. And I think this is the last video in these things and today, so let's meet tomorrow or someday when I'll be setting up. So in the next video, in short, I'll be setting up Django graphene authentication using JSON web token, and then that will be the last part in Django, and then we will start Vue.js and Apollo, and then we will just join them both. So have a nice time, guys, and let's meet next time. So please don't forget to subscribe and like this video if you love it.